Hey, it's JC and welcome to Small Brick City. In this video, I'm going to do a massive LEGO City update of my city, Small Brick City. There have been major changes to two levels of Small Brick City, namely the main level, which is Brick Beach, and Uptown, which is one level up. The other two levels, Deep Sea and Highlands, have not been updated, but I'll give you a quick tour for those who are new to my channel. To make this LEGO City tour a bit different and more interesting, I'll share my thinking, approach, choices, and motivation for doing different things, setting different scenes, or doing certain layouts. Hopefully, you can use some of these ideas in your own LEGO City. This is my Deep Sea level and is also the lowest level in my LEGO display. My LEGO display is split into 4 levels and each represents a cross-section of my main Small Brick City. So each section represents an interesting snapshot of my LEGO City. And in this deep sea scene, there are explorers investigating shipwrecks and they discover much more, including an underwater lost city. If you'd like to learn the backstory and see all the details of this underwater display, check out the card on the top right of the screen or check the link in the description. I think this is the coolest level of my LEGO City and it always blows people away when they see it live. The Highlands is the highest level in my LEGO City and it is an elaborate jungle exploration scene. It is supposed to be an unexplored area with lots of treasures to be discovered. Check out a separate video on how I created this jungle scene. This is Brick Beach, the main level of Small Brick City. The concept of Brick Beach is that it's a beach tourist town. Its entire industry is driven by tourism because of its beautiful beach, unique attractions around it, as well as its neutral banking laws, so finance tourism is really big in Brick Beach, just like say Switzerland, Singapore, or the Cayman Islands. I should mention that this city is a work in progress and this video is to show an update of the layout of the city. I will also be highlighting the areas that I'll be working on in the upcoming weeks. So several of the scenes that I've set up throughout the city are just placeholders and may not be the final displays. With that said and done, let's start off with the right side of the display, and appropriately, it's the brick bank. I've got several scenes set up on the side of the brick bank, from a chef coming out from the laundromat to a drunken sailor being woken up by a patrol officer. In front of my brick bank is my town square, and I consider this an important functional part of my city. First, it sits one level down in front of the town hall building, which is my police station. But because there's an open space, it gives gravitas and importance to the town hall, which is towering over the center of the city. The eyes naturally get drawn towards the town hall, subconsciously telling you that it is an important building. The open town square also gives a sense of green open space in a small city, which is very important to give breathing space and balance to a bustling city. As the town square is also in the heart of the city, many of the minifigs placed here are in business attire and they are buying coffee from a coffee cart. Incidentally, that's my upgraded design of a coffee cart, which I will share in a future tutorial. There are two connectors in the form of a flight of steps and wheelchair lift that allow minifigs to access the upper level. And on this main road, just behind the bus stop, it looks like an accident has happened. A poor minifig has been pinned down underneath the front of a city bus. For any LEGO city, I think it's important to create scenes, and I differentiate between a static scene and a dynamic scene. A static scene is a scene where minifigs are engaged in everyday activity, such as eating a hot dog, waiting for a bus, or suntanning at the beach. A dynamic scene is more interesting. It is a snapshot of action taking place. It should be interesting, entertaining, and maybe even thought-provoking. This accident scene seems like a big commotion with the minifig pinned under the bus and policemen surrounding it. However, maybe this isn't an accident after all, it is just misdirection for a bank heist that is taking place. Behind the accident scene, we have my firehouse, which is on fire, which is another interesting dynamic scene, and next to it is the town hall, which is my police station. And further down to the end of the road is a tourist attraction which I call Brick Point. What makes this a popular tourist attraction is because it's flanked by restaurants, a theatre, and has a beautiful fountain at the end of the road. It also overlooks the entire Brick Beach, giving minifigs a panoramic view of the entire surroundings. As you can see, we have many tourists gathered around, taking photos, enjoying the sights, and even buying tickets to a show. I felt it was very important to have one of these sites in my town. After all, it is a tourist town, and every tourist town has some kind of scenic point which is iconic to the city. Here's a look at the panoramic view that the minifig will get from Brick Point. That's quite a view. Minifigs will get to see the beach, the waterfront, and the Asian town opposite, consisting of the Ninjago City and Ninjago Docks sets. Let's head down to the beach to have a look. The main entrance to my beach starts from the walkway past the Parisian restaurant, down a rocky path, and there you see all the activity in the beach. I've got lots of static and dynamic scenes littered throughout the beach, making it very interesting, full of activity, and bustling with excitement. It takes a while to soak in everything and to see all the minifigs in action, as well as the various builds throughout the beach. In my opinion, it's very easy to make a Lego beach look bad, because it's too sparse and empty, and the landscape is not textured or detailed enough. In the water itself, we've got some interesting things going on, such as a dolphin causing a jet skier to lose control, a pair of buddies rafting down the beach, and even a hapless minifig who has seemed to catch more than just a small fish. On the beach itself, we have 2 vacation houses, rock climbing facilities, and a surf and scuba rental shop. Across from my main tourist beach is the Ninjago Docks and City, which in the context of my city is basically Asian town. So if you see any ninja minifigs, those will be removed in time to come. This part of Asian town is a very popular fishing spot, as you can see. And in the near future, I'll be adding more plates for water and adding texture and details to include waves, as well as to blend the water seamlessly with the rest of my beachfront. I also intend to build a footbridge in time to come, linking the beachfront with the Ninjago Docks. I think that connectivity is very important in any Lego city. And this is what gives continuity and a sense of flow for the entire city, even though a city may be made out of different districts or areas. Now we come round the side of the Ninjago City, where we see Destiny's Bounty docked. I've docked it at an angle so that more can be seen from the front, and in the context of my city, this is probably going to be a floating restaurant or maybe a tourist attraction. It is basically a historical ship or a replica of a historical ship that is docked permanently in Asian town for tourists to board, look around, and maybe dine in. I will be adding water texture to the blue base plates so that everything blends in seamlessly with the Ninjago City and docks. I've also added rocks on the side, and you can see them running all the way from the left side of the base plates to the back. And I intend to add a lighthouse on top of a hill at the back corner of this display. I felt that a lighthouse would be a good fit, as it makes use of the dead space at the corner of the display. I'm building a hill or a short mountain to put the lighthouse at a higher level. There are 2 reasons I'm doing this. One is for visibility, so that people can view it in the context of this display, and in addition, for a bit of realism. The Ninjago City is pretty high, so the lighthouse cannot be too low in contrast, otherwise it defeats its purpose. Let's now move up 1 level to my brand new Uptown. Uptown is a cross-section of a developed suburban town. It is tight but realistic, and just like Brick Beach, it is full of activity. Let's start off on the right side of the first level, which is my luxury apartment complex. This is the tallest building in Small Brick City. It's 5 stories high, consisting of 4 units including a penthouse. You can check out a dedicated video on this build on the top right card of the screen. It is full of interesting people, including a conspiracy theorist who runs his own podcast. Next to this building is the Assembly Square, which is a great set from Lego. I didn't make any modifications to this build, but I did add a lot of minifigs and scenes. As far as possible, I also try to add in small builds throughout my city. In this case, I have a flower cart with florist, and this is a natural extension of the flower shop which is located on the first floor of Assembly Square. Small builds like this give intricacy to a Lego city and make it more interesting for people to view. Next to Assembly Square is the Dyna Modular building, and you notice in the next series of buildings, they're all food and beverage related. The scene I've set up in front of the Dyna is a birthday party scene, and it is within this context that I can use a lot of the Series 18 collector minifigs. Typically, it may not make sense to see a lot of these characters in a normal Lego city based on realism. However, being a birthday party, we can have all sorts of dressed up characters in costumes to greet the birthday child and his friends. So anytime you want to put in strange minifigs like superheroes or costume characters, think of a context or scenario that makes sense for these characters to be in. So if you have a series of superheroes, it might be a costume party, the filming of a movie, or maybe the outside of a comic or costume shop. Of course, this is only important if you want to have some degree of realism in your LEGO city. The rest of this front row in Uptown consists of builds from my small Bricktown project. This is a collection of small modular style buildings that measure 12 to 16 studs wide. The great thing about such a collection is that I can place many buildings within a small space. It gives a very tight, realistic look of a row of shop houses or buildings. Each building is unique, has its own function and purpose in the city, and there are accompanying minifigs or displays in front of each building. I often find setting the scene in front of the small Bricktown project buildings to be quite challenging because there's a need to keep the variety going, make things interesting, yet make them relevant for the setting that they are in. My personal formula for minifigs is 10 minifigs for every 32 stud wide base plate of space. I feel this creates the variety and activity to keep things interesting and entertain an audience as they walk down the street viewing my city. Over here, I'm having a bit of fun by breaking the fourth wall and making some minifigs paint my white wall. So it's literally a fourth wall. Here's a look at the back elevated row of Uptown. It's all a series of modulars put side by side from one end to the other. The reason for the elevation, of course, is visual variety and for visibility when viewing the city from the front. There's space for a 16 stud wide road in front of the buildings before the edge of the elevation. Let me show you one of the connectors that I have to connect this lower level to the higher level. It is a set of steps that are built behind the Dyna that reaches up to the second level. I have placed some temporary rail guards for now. In time to come, I'll think of some kind of railing system or barriers so that minifigs do not fall over the edge. This is a look at the back of the buildings on the first row of my Uptown. These include the buildings from the small Bricktown project, as well as the Dyna and Assembly Square. I have left a 4-stud gap behind these buildings to act as a back alley, as many of these buildings have a back door. It also allows minifigs to go around the buildings to get to the other side if they do not want to go around the front. I have yet to stage any scenes or details in this back alley. Honestly, I'm not sure I'm going to add anything since no one will be able to see it anyway. One last note for my Uptown, the train tracks that you saw are also temporary. They will not be on the road as you see them. I have ordered in a set of truss supports which I'll use to elevate the tracks for the entire width of this road. So you will see the train tracks running 2 stories high from left to right across the town. This frees up valuable space on the ground below so I can add in scenes and minifigs, but also allows the train to be more visible. And in any city, when you add in multiple levels of activity, it makes the city visually more interesting. Well folks, there you have it, a look at my brand new small brick city. Let me know what you liked and let me know what you didn't like in the comments below. If you liked the city and the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. We just passed 1400 subscribers yesterday. If you like my approach to small brick city building, check out my book, Bricks for Small Places. Design and build a stunning LEGO city in a small space. I detail my strategies, philosophies and approaches in this book that is available in digital form and printed hard copy. Thanks for watching to the end, and before you go, check out these 2 videos. Talk to you soon!